Hello again and welcome to My English Brain. Today we are talking about was and were. Alright, let's get started. This is Mrs. Johnson's history class. They are learning about Albert Einstein today. Jill and Peter were on time, but Mike is late for class. Let's listen to their conversation.
Hey, sorry I'm late, Mrs. Johnson.
Mike, where were you?
I was at home and then it started raining. And there weren't any taxis to get here, so I had to walk.
Okay, well, take a seat, please, so we can continue. Okay, class, so where was I? Ah, yes, Albert Einstein. What do you know about him, class?
Was he an author?
No, he wasn't. He was a scientist.
That's right, Mike. More specifically, he was a physicist. Was he born in the USA?
No, he wasn't. He was born in Germany.
Right again. He was born in 1879.
But he lived in the United States, right?
Yes, he did, but he wasn't from the United States. He moved there when he was 54.
That's true, actually. Mike, how do you know so much about Albert Einstein?
I was in this class last semester, remember? I had to take it again because I didn't pass the class.
Ah, that's right. You didn't pass because you were late so often. Well, at least you learned something from the last time. Try to be on time more often this semester, okay?
Okay, Mrs. Johnson. But, they say Albert Einstein was always late too.
Okay, now it's time for today's grammar. And today's grammar is the past of be, was, and were. Now, for the subjects I, she, he, and it, the singular subjects, one person or one thing, we use was and the negative wasn't. Was and wasn't for the singular subjects I, she, he, and it. Also, when we use there is in English for the present tense, the past tense singular is there was. Now, for the subjects you, they, and we, the plural subjects for people or things, we use were and weren't for the negative. Now remember, you in English can be one person or it can be multiple people. So for that reason, we use you as a plural subject and we use were and weren't with you. Also remember, when we use there are in English, in the past we say there were. Okay, now let's look at the uses of was and were. We always use was and were for descriptions of the past. So, do you remember the picture? Well, let's look at some sentences. For example, the weather was bad. The weather was bad. A description of the weather. There were 3 students in the class. Again, a description of the quantity of students in the class. There were 3 students in the class. Peter and Jill were on time for class. Again, it's a description of Jill and Peter. Mrs. Johnson was mad. Again, a description of the feelings or emotions of Mrs. Johnson. Albert Einstein was a scientist. It's a description of Albert Einstein and his job. And Albert Einstein was born in Germany. It's a description of Albert Einstein and the place he was born. Now, in English, we use the verb be and a description word, born, to represent this action in a person's life. For example, I was born in 1985. Was is the verb, and born is the description. I was born in 1985. Very important, when we use born, we always use the verb be. And in the past tense, we use I was born in 1985. Or, for example, he was born in Denver, Colorado. Or they were born in the same hospital. Yes and no questions with was and were. Remember, in English, when we use a question, we always start with an auxiliary verb, and then the subject, and then the other part of the question. So, using was and were in the past tense, we have a question like this. Was Albert Einstein from the USA? Again, was is the auxiliary be in the past tense, and Albert Einstein is the subject. Was Albert Einstein from the USA? This is a yes/no question, so we need an answer. For the answer, we use yes or no, the subject, was or wasn't, were or weren't. Remember, was and wasn't is for the singular subjects. Were and weren't is for the plural subjects. So for example, was Albert Einstein from the United States? The answer, no, he wasn't. Let's look at another example. Were Peter and Jill on time for class? Again, were is the past auxiliary of be. Peter and Jill is the subject. Were Peter and Jill on time for class? The answer, yes, they were. So remember, guys, in the question for the past tense with was and were, we start with the auxiliary was or were, and then we use the subject. Now it's time to practice. Pop quiz! Number 1. Was the weather nice? No, it wasn't. It was raining. Repeat. Was the weather nice? No, it wasn't. It was rainy. Number 2. Was Mike on time for class? No, he wasn't. He was late. Repeat. Was Mike on time for class? No, he wasn't. He was late. Number 3. Were there 3 students in the class? Yes, there were. And there was 1 teacher. Repeat. Were there 3 students in the class? Yes, there were. And there was 1 teacher. Number 4. Were Jill and Peter late for class? No, they weren't. They were on time. Repeat. Were Jill and Peter late for class? No, they weren't. They were on time. Number 5. Was Albert Einstein born in Germany? Yes, he was. He was born in 1879. Repeat. Was Albert Einstein born in Germany? Yes, he was. He was born in 1879. Very good, guys. That's all for today. Thanks for watching my English Brain. Remember, if you liked the video, don't forget to share it with friends, family, and classmates. For more videos like these, subscribe to the channel. For more practice, go to the website, myenglishbrain.com. Don't forget the next video. Did, was, or were past tense questions. Thanks for watching, guys, and good luck.